address you all today. And I just want to thank him for every time I call him or send him an email, he gets back to me. And I appreciate that, because sometimes it's a little hard to get a hold of clergy sometimes. But I pray, and I'm so happy and thankful every time I have information to share, he allows me to come here and share it with you all. A little bit about myself. My name is Marlowe Jones. I am a community organizer with a nonprofit organization called Faith in Florida. I'm also a civil rights activist here in the Pasco County area. I've lived in this community all my life, literally right down the street. My great-grandmother moved here in 1925 from Georgia, and my family has been here ever since, right down the road, for over 105 years. So this is my home. 30 years ago, this is where I found the Lord. 30 years ago, in this very room, where my ancestors built this wonderful, wonderful temple of worship. And I'm just so thankful that it's still operating today, doing God's will. So I wanted to meet with you all today to talk to you about some of the things that I do and some of the things that are going on in our community. So I am a community organizer. So what I do is I travel sometimes around the state and sometimes around the United States. And I attend different conferences and I meet with different clergy and different organizations. And we try to have an understanding of what's going on in our world. But most importantly, what's going on locally here in our community. Before I start, I want to ask you all one question. And if anybody knows the answer to this question, please feel free to answer it. Who is your local state representative that represents you all in Tallahassee? If you know, raise your hand. If you don't know, raise your hand. Okay, y'all don't know? Okay, so most of you, I'm assuming, live somewhere in Pasco County, correct? And if you don't, it's okay. I'll help you find your representative as well. But if you live in Pasco County, on the west side, your state representative is a gentleman called Brad Yeager. And his office is right on Grand Boulevard in downtown Newport Richey. Why am I telling you this? Because it's important that you know who represents you. If you don't know who represents you, you're not being represented. The reason I'm telling you this is because right now in the state of Florida, if you do not know, we are in a crisis. We are in a serious, serious crisis. We are in a constitutional crisis. We are in a humanitarian crisis. I do a lot of volunteering at food banks, sometimes on Saturdays. And one thing I've noticed is that the food bank lines are getting longer and the food is getting shorter. Now, because of certain federal funds that have been stopped at the highest level, there will be no more food banks, most likely. So people are going to continue to starve and go hungry. This is why I'm telling you it is important to know who your local representative is, so you can call them and ask them, why is this happening? Do you know who your congressional representative is? Who represents you in Congress? Anybody? It's a gentleman by the name of Gus Bilirakis. Gus Bilirakis has been representing this part of Pasco County for probably the last 20 years, and his father before him. The reason I'm asking you if you know who your local congressional representative is, because it's imperative to know who do you call if your Social Security check stops. Who do you call if your SNAP benefits stop? Because guess what? The House of Representatives, where Mr. Bilirakis represents you all, just passed a bill 72 hours ago that is going to gut Medicaid, that's going to cut veterans benefits, that's going to cut SNAP benefits, and there's a whole list of other benefits. These are going to be cut. I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm just trying to tell you it is time to be prepared. This is why you need to know who your local representatives are, because if you are some person that faces some of these cuts, you're going to need to know who to call. And it's very important. You also call them and let them know how you feel. Express to them, I don't know if this is representing my best interest. We know a lot of folks that are dependent on Social Security, people that are retired, seniors, people that are disabled. So if these benefits stop, we're going to be in a real bad situation. We know a lot of families that are dependent on SNAP benefits that allow them to eat, that allow them to survive. Because let's be honest, wages aren't going up, okay? Housing crisis is going just absolutely crazy. So it's very important that we understand what's going on. I know we see a lot of stuff on the TV, you might see a lot of stuff on social media, but this stuff is actually happening in real time, and it's happening fast. And why is it happening? I'm just going to give you a little snapshot. So we recently had an election, right? And in that election, we see that there are three branches of government, right? We have the executive branch, we have the legislative branch, we have the judicial branch. But the legislative branch and the House and the Senate are controlled by one party. The executive branch is controlled by one party. So we have what we call a trifecta, okay? So that means they have a lot of power. So what do you do with that power? Some people use it for good, some people don't use it for good. But right now, people that are in power, we have to pray for them. One of my favorite things I've heard the Lord say was, Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. I've been saying that a lot. I've been saying that a lot because when I'm attending these meetings and I'm listening to senators and I'm listening to legislators, the information that they're telling us is quite shocking and quite concerning. Nobody thought things would happen this fast. Nobody thought that benefits would be cut this fast, but they're happening. Just the other day, the Naval Observatory took off the list put on the list of new banned books, I Know I Cage Bird Sings. Do y'all think that book should be on the banned book list? It is. That's what we're living in. Harriet Tubman has been taken on. Medgar Evers. It's an attack. And we know what the attack is on. We know that. So we have to educate ourselves, and we have to continue to, most importantly, educate the children that I see in the room and remind them that their history started before slavery. Remind your children about Africa. Remind them about the kings and queens. Because, sometimes they want you to believe that your history started when we came here. Sometimes they never told you that Abu Bakr II, king of the Mali Empire, launched one of the biggest fleets to ever be out in the ocean and came to America. But you will never learn that in the history books. This is why it's important that we teach our children our history. Because we know if we leave it in the hands of others, what are they going to do? Faith in Florida had to work with other people in our community to come up with the Black History Toolkit, which we came out with almost 2 years ago when the State House, remember I asked you all, who's your state representative? And I said, Mr. Yeager. The State House, which controls everything that goes on at the state level, passed a law that said they were going to water down African American history. Someone got on TV of high power and said that slaves benefited from slavery. I don't need to tell you who it is, you've all heard it. But this is the type of stuff that is going to happen. It's nothing new. It happened in the 60s with the Southern Daughters of the Confederacy. It's nothing new. This is not a new playbook. It's just a new time. Okay? Nothing new. But one thing I do want to share with you all just a little bit is some of the things I learned on my recent adventure to Tallahassee. So I was fortunate to go with Faith in Florida and some of my colleagues with our Director of Democracy, Dr. LaVon Bracey, who is the first African-American woman to integrate Alachua High School in the 1960s. And now her daughter is a state representative. Her son was a former state senator. And now Dr. Bracey is our Director of Democracy. And she's done a wonderful plethora of work registering over 6,000 people herself to vote. She did that herself, one person. Just imagine what we all could do. But guess what? We might not be able to do that, and that's what I want to talk to you about. So I attended this session in Tallahassee, just got back a couple of days ago. I was able to meet with Dr. Pamela Birch Ford. Dr. Pamela Birch Ford is a wealth of knowledge and information. She has spent 46 years working at the state capitol in Tallahassee. So just imagine meeting someone who has worked at the state capitol for 46 years. Imagine the knowledge that person has. Dr. Ford was able to give us, within maybe 2 hours, a full diagnosis of what we're dealing with, because she has seen it happen. And now she works as a lobbyist, working with different legal teams to try to combat some of the things that we are dealing with. So right now, we have in the state of Florida what we call a supermajority. Does anybody know what a supermajority is? So basically, in the House right now, House Representative, we have 120 members in the State House. 85 are Republican and 35 are Democrats. So basically, anything that the Democrats try to do in the State House, they can't do. They don't have the votes. They are outnumbered. That's why you're having these bills passed that are taking away your rights, because the other party doesn't have the power to fight back, because they have a supermajority on the other side. Now, in the state Senate, there are 28 Republican senators and 12 Democratic senators. So in the Senate, they don't have the power. So they can put up a little fight by talking about it, trying to warn us, right? But they don't have the votes to do anything. That's why it's so important that you all know who your state representatives are, and that those elections are every 2 years. So every 2 years, y'all should be going to vote for your state representatives. As a matter of fact, when you all leave here, you should Google, who is my state representative in Pasco County? And a website will come up from the Florida House that will tell you exactly who your representative is. And you can even track what they do. So every time our state representative does something, I get an email that alerts me, this is what bill he's sponsoring, or this is what bill he has written, and this is the trajectory of the bill. So these are tools that we can all use to help educate, because I believe the Bible also said people perish for a lack of knowledge. I want to make sure our people don't perish. I want to make sure we're educated. One thing that I want to tell you all, you're probably wondering, how did we get here? How did we get here? We got here because of gerrymandering. We got here because of redistricting. What does that mean? So Ms. Birch Ford was telling us, it was a point in time where there was balance in the State House. There was balance. Democrats were winning. You had a Democratic governor at some point in the 80s. And then at some point, when one of the Bushes came to Florida, he became the governor, things changed. Every 10 years, they are allowed to redraw the lines. And the party that's in control redraws the lines. Those that are in power don't want to let go of power. So gerrymandering is a tool that they have used to basically hold on to power. You're able to redraw the lines. You're able to redraw the districts. So you're able to make sure your party has more members in Congress. You're able to make sure you're able to keep getting that supermajority. This is what's happening, and this is why we're in the situation that we're in now. One thing that is happening now that you all should be aware of. You used to be able to drop your voting ballot off at a ballot box, right? And the voting ballot box they had in the communities, those are being reduced. You're not going to have that anymore. They are going to make sure that everything that makes it easier for you to vote will be taken away from you. So let's say you guys wanted to do, Union Missionary Baptist Church wanted to do a listening session, right? You guys wanted to do a voter registration drive. Let's say Pastor wanted to do that. Well, guess what? Now that's going to be extremely hard. You're going to have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars just to even register people to vote. And if you mess up one time, you could be fined up to millions of dollars. They are making it practically impossible for third-party people like Faith in Florida, your church, or any organization to register people to vote. That's what's happening. These are bills, HB H01. These are bills that are moving at rapid pace and most likely will be signed into law once the legislative session ends in a couple of weeks in Tallahassee. This is why I'm asking you, do you know who your state representatives are? But just imagine if everybody in this room called Brad Yeager and said, hey Brad, why are y'all passing laws that make it harder for us British people to vote? Hey Brad, why are y'all passing laws that are trying to water down Black history? We have to hold them accountable. If we don't hold them accountable, this is what's going to happen. We got to show up. We have to go to these meetings. You think I like going to county commissioner meetings? You think I like going to the city hall meetings? I don't, especially when I get thrown out. But I have to, because if I don't, I will not be able to share the knowledge with you all that is very, very important. And as I get ready to close, there's a bill right now called Bill 1381 saying only people that are Florida citizens can vote. This is a bill right now that is tracking its way and most likely will be signed into law. And what I mean by that is only citizens. Okay, we understand that. We already know that only citizens can vote. That's already a law. If you're not a citizen, you can't vote. That's the truth. Oh, I got an apple. This must be a sign from God. So what this bill that is fast tracking through the State House and through the State Senate, basically what this is going to do, so if you're married, right, you get a new name. If I get married, my wife will take my name. Every couple of years, you have to go to the DMV to get your license. Well, now, guess what? When your wife goes to the DMV to renew her license, she better hope she got her passport. She better hope she got a birth certificate and every other documentation on earth to prove she's a citizen. Even if you're already a citizen, you're going to have to prove it. So right there, according to estimates, 69 million women in America could be impacted by this. So that's serious. That's a serious thing. Why are they doing that? That's what I would want to ask my representative. These are things that are happening in real time. And I don't want to scare anybody, but I want to let y'all know we can't be silent anymore. We have to do something. We have to continue to ask those questions of our elected officials. Everybody should go home and ask their cousin or their auntie or their uncle, are you registered to vote? Are you registered to vote? We just had a city council election in Port Richey where one person retained his seat and a new person was sworn into the council. Will be sworn into the council on Tuesday. These are elections happening locally in your community. You got county commissioner races. You got city council races. We have to be involved. And most importantly, we have a school board race coming up soon in the next cycle, where there's some interesting people who have entered that race already. But it's imperative, especially at the school board level. We have to have representation for our children, because right now we don't have any representation. So of course they're going to ban every book that says black, or every book that says DEI. They're going to ban everything, so we have to show up to these school board meetings. When we see that they have something on the agenda that is going to hurt our children, we all got to show up. Because you know what, when we show up, that means something. That shows them that we care. We care about our children and we care about our history. So these are just some of the things that I wanted to talk to you all about. Like I said, I don't want to startle any of you, but it is my job to share this information. And if I don't share this information, I'll be doing every single one of you a disservice. So just remember, when you go home today, keep asking yourself, your state representative, who's your state senator? These are people in our community that are doing things that you all should be aware of. We have to hold folks accountable, and we got to continue to educate. So that's all I have to say. I'm going to keep it short and sweet because I know y'all ready to get out of here. Where we all going? We going to go in the crowd? Huh? McDonald's? Oh, I can't go to McDonald's. But I want to thank Pastor Phillips for giving me a chance just to come here and talk with you all for a minute about some of these serious things, and just to let you all know we have to be prepared. And I say that with love and grace, but there are some things that are happening at the top that are only going to get worse. And I'm just telling you because I know what's coming down the pipeline. But we got faith, right? Amen. We got faith. Thank you, Pastor.
That's what we do. We keep praying, keep trusting God, but also we must.
For me, I think it's just really imperative that we communicate with our congressional leaders, communicate with any leaders that are representing us as individuals. I think it's really important that it was really great to have Marlowe here to share some information with us. But the biggest takeaway for me is we have to speak up, we have to speak out, and we have to be a part of this community as a whole. A lot of things that are happening that we are not aware of. Some people are turning a blind eye, but we can't turn a blind eye anymore. There's a lot of things that are happening that we need to just be one with each other, but also communicate effectively and get the word across to everyone, not just here locally, but everyone. Personally, no, but to see many former students of mine and even former colleagues, a lot of things that have happened within the school system, and I see a lot of things are transforming in a way that is causing people to take a step back from education, to have second guesses or even having issues with our individuals who are in office within the school board. I just think it's something that we just have to support each other across all fields.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
I think it's important, he said it's important for us to know our legislators, that it's important for us to know what's passing fast track through our areas, whether it's the city, whether it's the state, whether it's the county. I think it's very good that he adhered, that we all not only know our legislators, but we know who to call when we are not in agreement with something, and know when our elections are, because they are happening all the time. And we have a board election coming up that nobody knows about. And we have people that aren't there to look after our students, to look after our families. So it's important that we have representation in all of the areas that are being up for re-election. I would say the biggest thing, we know what happened with the food and how we no longer have money going to food banks. We have stores that are no longer giving their goods to the people in need in the community. So we have a lot of areas that are impacted by this. Our elderly, our students in school. There's some kids who are only eating at school because that's where they only have access to healthy food. So that will be one of the biggest areas that I see in this area.
Perfect. Thank you.